Welcome, everyone. I am Leroy Truth for Leroy Truth Investigations, because the truth revealed by transparently recording our public officials during the course of their duty shall keep us free. Many of you have asked me for any updates on the horrific Tyre Nichols. What happened there? And I'm actually leaving some words out, ladies and gentlemen, because I have two videos that I've recorded, edited, uploaded, ready to go, and YouTube is holding them for review. The censorship is freaking crazy here. So I'm creating this other video. I just saw this news story today. So this is breaking news. And some I did hear before, some I'm hearing additional details. Let's go over that now. Now, all five officers, these are in the Memphis police, the other officers who assaulted and ended up killing Tyre Nichols in Memphis, Tennessee. And it's been found all five officers charged in Tyre Nichols' death removed or failed to activate their body-worn cameras. They were caught by a SkyCop camera installed to monitor crime hotspots. Now, a fundamental part of my police reform demand is that no one can deactivate a body-worn camera who is a cop during the course of their duty. It will be a felony if they do, and instant termination of employment if they do that. Unacceptable. So all five of them took their cameras off. They knew what they were doing was absolutely wrong. And they claimed they stopped Tyre Nichols because of a traffic stop. But there's been no evidence at all that he drove recklessly, and that's what they accused him of, that ended up in the beating and death of Tyre Nichols. Let's continue here. All five officers charged in Tyre Nichols' death failed to capture the entire incident on body cameras. 3 of the 5 removed their cameras during the still active scene, according to new police docs. Yeah, they were trying to get away with murder. All 5 officers were fired and have been charged with second-degree murder. Now, all 5 Memphis police officers charged in the fatal beating of Tyre Nichols failed to capture the entire encounter on their body-worn cameras. And 3 of the 5 fully removed their body-worn cameras during the still active scene, according to the newly released police documents obtained by Insider. And this comes to you from, the original article is from Business Insider. And I saw this on Yahoo News, which is where I'm reading it now. Now, following Nichols' death, the police department released portions. Transparency is key, ladies and gentlemen. Not acceptable. Portions are not fucking acceptable. Part of my demands for police reform: the entire, redacted, unedited versions within 24 hours of any request from the public. Those body cam videos are ours. They're yours. It's public videos. So they released portions of responding officers' body-worn camera footage, as well as CCTV, this closed-circuit TV video of the encounter. The most thorough accounting of the deadly confrontation, however, came from controversial SkyCop cameras that are installed throughout Memphis in crime hotspots and have cost the city more than $10 million. Now, they're controversial because it's literally babysitting, Big Brother watching us. And I absolutely am against those cameras. However, this is why they justify the use of those cameras, by the way. But if it wasn't for those cameras, Tyre Nichols you would not have not heard of him. And the police report said he deserved what he got. So because of those cameras, we know the truth. However, personally, the ends does not justify the means. We have that, and they're there. We're going to use those camera footage to get to the truth, but we should not have the government surveilling us. Absolutely wrong. Continuing. Police documents obtained by Insider on Tuesday paint a picture of repeated missteps by responding officers. You see how the media paints things so much lighter? Note the word missteps by the officers. They were missteps. They were intentional actions done to attempt to get away with beating someone to death. It was not a misstep. Freaking mainstream media sucks. Continuing. Police documents obtained by Insider on Tuesday paint a picture of repeated missteps by responding officers, one of whom admitted to taking and then sharing a photo of Nichols' bloodied, bruised, and handcuffed on his personal cell phone in the aftermath of the confrontation. That is sick and depraved and criminal. The Tennessee Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission, a state board agency, received the police documents late last month as part of the 5 decertification requests made by the Memphis Police Department for the 5 officers involved. Well, that training they gave those officers, those Tennessee Peace Officer Standards, they sucked. Emmett Martin III, Desmond Mills Jr., Justin Smith, Demetrius Haley, and Tadarius Bean were all fired and have since been charged with second-degree murder in Nichols' death. However, how many of them will actually be found guilty? It is very rare for cops to actually be found guilty, even when they are charged. Very rare. On the evening of January 7th, Memphis police officers stopped Nichols on suspicion of reckless driving. Now, there is no evidence that actually occurred, so they probably made it up. Though police officials have since said they haven't found evidence that Nichols was driving erratically. They got cameras everywhere. They should be blatantly saying, if this is true, because I don't know this for a fact, but there's cameras everywhere. Security cameras on street corners and so forth, including this Skycam. There's probably evidence that Tyre Nichols did not drive erratically whatsoever, but they're not saying it. They're just saying there isn't any evidence that he did drive erratically, but I read another article where they said, well, there isn't any that he did not drive erratically either. Chances are there is a camera or cameras that will show he did nothing wrong at all, including his driving. An initial confrontation between Nichols and several officers ensued as they pulled him out of his vehicle and pushed him to the ground. A second confrontation occurred after Nichols got up and ran away as an officer tried to tase him. He was getting the shit beat out of him for nothing. An innocent man, of course he's going to run away, try to save his life. But they caught up to him. Body cam footage showed several officers beating Nichols while he was on the ground. Nichols died 3 days after the traffic stop. Tennessee police requires officers to activate their body cameras during all law enforcement encounters and activity. Or what? Tennessee law requires them, or what? Here's what needs to happen. Instant felony, instant termination from employment if they turn off their body cameras or mute them during the course of their duty. Period. But investigators said Martin failed to activate his body-worn camera during the first confrontation with Nichols. At some point, he also removed the camera from his duty vest and placed it in an unmarked vehicle, according to the documents. According to the records, Bean also removed his body-worn camera from his duty vest and put it on the trunk of a squad car during the active scene, quote-unquote, meaning while they're beating the shit out of him, and then walked away from the device while it was still recording in order to have a conversation with his fellow officers about the incident. Like, probably how to cover it up. Mills' camera caught the initial interaction with Nichols, officials said, but the officer later removed his duty vest and placed it on the trunk of an unmarked vehicle with the camera still attached. See, ladies and gentlemen, they have strategies for this. This isn't the first time they've done this. This is the first time they've been caught doing this. And if you look at the records of those officers and anyone in that piece of shit thug group called the Scorpion Unit, I bet you're going to find a lot of this and a lot of egregiously depraved, evil behavior and assaults that they did, and maybe even other murders that they did to the public. Continuing. Both Haley and Smith also failed to capture the encounter with Nichols in its entirety, according to police records. 6 cops in total have been fired as a result of the beating, and 7 more officers with the department are facing an internal investigation and possible discipline, the city of Memphis announced Tuesday. And what does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? An internal investigation, that's part of my demand. Stop end internal investigations now. You cannot investigate yourself, especially for something as egregious as this depraved behavior, vicious, savage behavior and murder. And I'm going to be, again, talking with senators and various politicians to end police reform, but I need your help. You have to contact your local politicians, your mayors, your senators, your congressmen, congresswomen, your assemblymen, assemblywomen, all the way up to the president. And by the way, in the President's State of the Union, when he was talking about African American people and how he never had to have, as he called it, the talk with his children because they were white, he said that so many African American parents have got to talk to their kids about when the police stop you, that you got to make sure you do everything right. Otherwise, you could be killed. And Biden's saying it like he's a victim of this. Like he has no power to change police culture. And also, I personally almost been murdered by a cop with a gun pointed to my head with his finger on the trigger with the barrel pointed right next to the temple of my head because I wouldn't give him my ID when I didn't have to, when I committed no crime. I stood up for my constitutional rights as a free man, my free rights, my human rights as a free man, and I was almost murdered by a cop this close. So I know what it's like. And this is not just a racial problem. It is an authoritarian problem. They harass, assault, and murder all of us, not just some of us. And I am committed to ending this. And here are my 5 demands for police reform. Stop qualified immunity right now. They stop internal investigations right now. Body camera footage is not allowed to be muted in any way, video or sound, or it would be a felony. And all body cam footage has got to be released within 24 hours of request. And whoever the head of that police agency is as culpable for whatever crimes his or her underlings do as the people who do them. I am Leroy Truth for Leroy Truth Investigations. I profoundly appreciate your support because together we can and we will make change and we will bring about police reform. Please subscribe to my channel. Please like my videos. Share my videos. Call all of your local politicians, your state, your national politicians, and demand police reform. Thank you for who you are and for being freedom-supporting, freedom-loving people who are taking action to assure our freedoms will be intact. Until next time, this is Leroy Truth.